NASDAQ Dorsey Wright has been a leader in technical analysis and relative strength investing for over 30 years. Relative strength, which is synonymous with momentum, is based on the belief that those securities that have performed best recently have the best chance of continuing to perform well going forward. However, where most traditional forms of momentum measure performance over a specified period, such as the last 6 or 12 months, our preferred method of technical analysis, point and figure charting, allows us to strip time out of the equation. We believe that this allows us to be more adaptive to changing trends within the market over time. And that is why we've chosen to base our methodology and the data at the center of our research platform around the concept of relative strength. Our research platform provides you with an extensive database of charts on stocks, ETFs, mutual funds, indexes, and more, as well as tools designed to help you with asset allocation decisions, idea generation, and portfolio monitoring, and the ability to follow over 100 pre-made rules-based model portfolios or create models of your own based on our methodology. The foundation of our analysis is point and figure charting, which we believe is an effective tool for filtering out the short-term noise in a security's price movement to focus on the underlying relationship between supply and demand. Chart patterns and other technical measures help us determine if there is sufficient demand to potentially drive the security's price higher, or if excess supply may create resistance and downward pressure on the price. Each chart page provides you with information on the overall strength of the security you're viewing, as well as the sector or investment category it belongs to. From these charts, we can derive data points that make analyzing the strength of a security and developing a plan of action much easier and more objective. One such data point is our technical attribute score, which rates stocks on a scale from 0 to 5 based on the overall direction of their trend, whether it's performing well over both the long and short term relative to the market as a whole, and how it's performing relative to a basket of similar stocks over both the long and short term. Our research has shown this scoring system to be effective over time, with higher rated stocks typically outperforming the market as a whole and lower rated stocks generally underperforming. The chart page is designed to provide you with helpful data for analyzing a security, as well as tools designed to help you effectively monitor that security and efficiently make decisions on a course of action. From a securities chart, you can add it to a watch list, set alerts to monitor its price movement or changes in its technical attribute score or other technical measures, or look for other securities in the same sector with strong technical characteristics. Our daily equity report, prepared by our team of analysts each trading day, provides our users with market insights, individual security ideas, analyst commentary, and notes on the technical outlook for certain securities, and other featured articles on trends developing in the market that our analysts consider noteworthy or actionable. Use the links at the top to jump to a particular section of the report. You can also view past reports by navigating via this side panel, or search the archives for articles related to a specific topic. The Asset Allocation tab is where all of our broad market and sector analysis resides. One of the main reports we use for market insights is our DALI report, which stands for Dynamic Asset Level Investing. It's what we use to drive our asset allocation decisions by identifying the areas of the market that are exhibiting the most relative strength at any time. The left column of DALI shows you a ranking of the asset classes based on relative strength. In this case, domestic equities being the top ranked asset class and currencies being the last. Within each asset class, we then run separate relative strength comparisons for each of the underlying categories. Highlighted here is the ranking for the domestic equity sectors. Those sectors on the left being the strongest at the moment, the ones on the right being the weakest. In this case, consumer cyclical being strongest, consumer non-cyclical being weakest. We use DALI to assist in generating our asset allocations within our portfolios, with the goal of maximizing our allocation to areas of strength within the market. For example, these current rankings show that while fixed income is weak relative to other asset classes, there remain areas of strength within fixed income. And so for anyone looking to maintain an allocation to fixed income, they may look at US high yield or US preferreds and convertibles in order to satisfy that allocation. Clicking into any of these sections will give you a list of securities within that investment category, sorted by our technical rating to help you identify the strongest potential investments within that category. The Dolly tool even allows you to create a custom view for these rankings, so you can make sure that the information is as relevant to you and your investment process as possible. You can also set alerts so that the system will send you an email whenever there's a change in the asset class rankings or any of the rankings within an asset class, allowing you to stay on top of the changing dynamics within the market without having to constantly monitor the report. Our research has shown that allocating 100% of your portfolio to the top ranked asset class within Dolly produces the best results over time. However, since we know this is not possible in practice for most investors, the Dolly Strategies tab is designed to help you allocate as much as possible to areas of strength while maintaining a degree of diversification. To see how the Dolly strategies work, let's take a look at an example side by side with the current Dolly rankings. The Dolly strategies use minimums and maximums set on each asset class to determine the current allocation based on the current Dolly rankings. First, each asset class is automatically filled to its minimum, allowing you to maintain an allocation to each asset class you want to be invested in at all times. The remainder of the allocation will go to those asset classes that are exhibiting the greatest relative strength. First, we will fill number one in the rankings, in this case domestic equities, to its maximum or as far as possible. In this case, there's enough allocation remaining for domestic equities to be filled to its 50% maximum. After that, we will move to number two in the rankings, currently commodities, filling it to its maximum or as far as possible. Just like with domestic equities, commodities is able to be filled to its 10% maximum. We continue this process, moving down to number three in the rankings, currently international equities, filling it to its maximum or as far as possible. In this case, there's not enough allocation for international equities to be filled to its maximum, so we allocate the remainder of the portfolio to international equities, allowing it to reach 15% of the portfolio. Once your asset allocation has been determined, you can use the Allocate Strategy button to view a list of our model portfolios, or you can use some of our other modeling capabilities or security selection tools to help fill out your allocation. Another report we use to gather market insights is our Asset Class Group Scores report, which calculates relative strength differently than Dolly, but provides similar insights. These rankings tend to move differently than the rankings in Dolly, giving you the opportunity to possibly confirm the strength of an investment category if it's scoring well according to both reports, or allowing you to potentially see things that have yet to develop in Dolly that may be materializing within the Asset Class Group Scores rankings. The main data point for this report is the average score, which aggregates our proprietary fund score for each of the investment categories listed. Our fund score is based on a scale from 0 to 6, and it is based on a fund's trend, market relative strength, and peer relative strength characteristics. The colors of the report are to help you identify those areas of the market that are performing best, with the strongest categories, those scoring 4 or above, in blue, the next strongest, with scores 3 to 4, in green, categories with scores from 2.5 to 3 in yellow, and those below 2.5 in red. The ranking shown in the leftmost column is based on the ranking for all groups, but you can use this section to change the filtering of the list to analyze various segments of the market, such as sectors, size and style categories, or regions. Another data point to pay attention to is the score direction, which measures how much a group's score has changed from its high or low in the last 6 months. A positive score indicating improvement in its score over the last 6 months, and a negative score indicating a reduction in its score over the last 6 months. You can also use the combo column, which adds together the average score and score direction, to view those groups that are exhibiting relative strength and continuing to improve. Clicking a link within the Ideas column will provide you with a list of the top scoring funds within that category. One data point we pay close attention to on this page is the money market percentile rank, which we use as an indication of the amount of risk within the market. This measures the percent of groups that currently have a lower score than cash. As money market rises up these rankings, it indicates that many areas of the market are underperforming and that risk is gradually increasing. Lastly, use the links on the right-hand side to set alerts to monitor the movement of any particular investment category or to view any members of that group that are included in any one of your portfolios. The technical indicator report will provide you with some of the more traditional market indicators followed by technical analysts, such as the bullish percent, which measures the percent of stocks in a particular universe that are on a buy signal on their chart, a positive trend indicator, which measures the percent of stocks in a universe that are in a positive trend, indicators that measure the percent of stocks above certain moving averages, and the high-low index, which measures the percent of stocks in a universe reaching new highs versus those reaching new lows. The table to the right will give you information on the indicator's current reading, the level that reading corresponds to on its point and figure chart, the indicator's current signal and column on its point and figure chart, and what that combination of signal and column may mean for this universe's outlook. Use this section to focus in on the indicators most important to you. Or to change the universes you're viewing. The security screener allows you to filter out lists of securities based on strong technical criteria or other characteristics. Select whether you want to run a mutual fund, ETF, or stock screen. Use the blue section at the top of the screener to choose from various universes, such as indexes like the NASDAQ 100 and S&P 500, our system-generated reports of securities that have recently hit or are nearing significant movements on their charts, portfolios you've saved in the system, or filter based on sector, choosing specific sectors, or those considered favored, average, or unfavored based on our favorite sectors report. You can also search holdings within a particular ETF. As you add filters, you'll notice the record count of securities meeting your criteria start to fall. In order to remove a filter that you previously set, click the trash can icon. The green section of filters includes general security data and characteristics, such as price, volume, and size and style. The gray section includes many of our primary measures of a security's technical strength, such as its technical attribute score, whether it is currently on a buy signal on its chart, and whether it's in a positive trend, among others. The lower blue section of filters contains many of our secondary technical measures used for mean reversion and timing of entering and exiting positions. Finally, the yellow section contains limited fundamental data, allowing you to filter by things such as earnings per share, price per earnings, or to look for high yield stocks. This section to the left helps you determine the fields you'll see once your list is generated. Once you've set your desired filters, click Preview to view the list of securities that meet your criteria. Once your list is generated, click any of the column headers to resort your list and analyze it based on other data. You can also save this screen to generate a list based on these filters again in the future. view point and figure charts for each of the securities listed below, or send this list to another tool within the platform, such as our portfolio tool or our relative strength matrix. Use our portfolio tool to create a watch list of securities, monitor a client's portfolio, or upload a list of securities to analyze its technical strength. You can create a portfolio from another area of the platform, such as the security screener, or a universe of one of our model portfolios, or build one from scratch. If you already have a list of tickers in an Excel spreadsheet, creating a portfolio simply takes copying your column of tickers and pasting it right into the appropriate field. Save it as a track portfolio to enter share and price information and track performance over time, or as a standard portfolio if you simply want to analyze and monitor the strength of the underlying securities. Once your portfolio is saved, you'll be given an indication of the strength of the entire portfolio based on a number of data points, such as the percent of underlying securities currently on a buy signal, in a positive trend, exhibiting relative strength versus the market, as well as the average stock or fund score within this group. Use the links along the top of the portfolio to view point and figure charts for each of the underlying securities, any recent analyst commentary from our daily equity report on any of the underlying securities, securities in this portfolio that have recently been added to any of our system generated reports, and much more. Use the portfolio action section to customize the fields that appear along your portfolio header, create a relative strength matrix of this universe, and set alerts to have the system monitor changes in the underlying strength of any of the portfolio's holdings. One of the tools we consider most important for our security selection process, which is the tool that underlies many of our model portfolios, is our relative strength matrix. The relative strength matrix is designed to show you the securities exhibiting the most relative strength against the other securities in a particular universe. We have a number of pre-made matrices based on asset classes, sectors, indexes, and more, or you can create relative strength rankings based on a universe of your own. This particular matrix consists of the 30 stocks that make up the Dow. Each box within the matrix corresponds to an individual point and figure relative strength chart. In this case, Goldman Sachs versus Merck. The BX here means that Goldman Sachs is on a buy signal and in a column of X's against Merck. This is the strongest signal, as it means Goldman Sachs is exhibiting relative strength versus Merck on both a long and short-term basis. BO is the next strongest signal, in this case meaning Goldman Sachs is exhibiting relative strength versus Salesforce in the long term, but Salesforce is a bit stronger in the short term. SX would be your next strongest signal, in this case looking at Microsoft versus Apple. Microsoft is on a sell signal, meaning it's exhibiting relative weakness compared to Apple over the long term, but it is currently in a column of X's on the relative strength chart comparing the two, meaning it's showing relative strength relative to Apple in the short term. SO represents the weakest signal. In this case, looking at Disney versus 3M, Disney is on a sell signal and in a column of O's relative to 3M. This means it's exhibiting relative weakness over both the longer term and shorter term. The rankings in a matrix are determined by the number of relative buy signals a security has versus each of the other members within this universe. In this case, Goldman Sachs ranks number 1 with 28 out of 29 potential buy signals, failing to register a buy signal against only Dow DuPont. We believe the matrix provides an effective way of objectively identifying the leadership within a particular universe. And over time, our research backs this up, showing that the best returns come from the top of the matrix, with the top 20% and second 20% of the matrix outperforming the S&P on a total return basis over time. The matrix tool allows you to set alerts on a matrix to monitor changes in the matrix rankings, or to create a rules-based model portfolio from a matrix universe that you can backtest and customize to fit your investment process. Each stock chart even contains information on where a stock ranks within its sector matrix, as well as where its sector ranks among a matrix of each of these sector indexes. Our models page contains a listing of over 100 rules-based relative strength model portfolios. Use the filters along the left side to find the model that works for you. Possible filters include holding type, asset class, and whether or not the model includes a cash component for potential downside protection. You can also filter by certain model characteristics or portfolio statistics to make sure the model you choose meets a certain risk and return profile. Clicking into a model will pull up all of the relevant information related to that model and its history. The Details tab will provide you with information related to the model's objective, a view of how it's performed relative to its benchmark since we began testing the model, and the ability to download a fact sheet or create a custom white-labeled fact sheet of your own. View the model's current holdings and how the holdings have changed over time. The Returns tab will show you annualized returns for the model and its benchmark over various trailing periods, as well as calendar year returns for the model and its benchmark. Clicking into a particular year will even show you monthly returns for that year. Use the Trading tab to examine the model's trades over time, and the Stats tab to examine how the model is allocated based on a number of different breakdowns. And how it's performed relative to its benchmark on a risk-adjusted basis. Click the bell icon next to a model to subscribe to alerts, which will cause the system to send you an email whenever a trade is triggered, letting you know what to buy and what to sell. Our new custom modeling features give you the tools behind our existing models with complete control over the universe and rule set, so you can make sure the models work for you and your investment process. Build models based on our relative strength matrix. Use ETFs and mutual funds to create your own fund score method model, or blend together models and other securities to create complete portfolios. Once your model's created, you have access to all of the same data and information as any of our existing models, and the ability to create a custom fact sheet with your own logo and disclosures. A sample of the custom fact sheet output is shown here. Add your logo and contact information on the cover page. Choose the specific elements that you want to appear and the order in which they appear. Compare your model's performance to a benchmark or multiple benchmarks. And include disclosures to maintain compliance. The NASDAQ Dorsey Wright Research Platform contains lots of data and many tools to help you in your investment process. While we recognize this can seem overwhelming, we're here to help you identify those tools that will help you achieve what you're looking to do. Make sure to visit the Resource Center by clicking the XO icon in the bottom right corner of your screen for information on upcoming webinars, replays of past events, helpful articles and videos, and guided walkthroughs for many of the system's tools. You can also find our contact information via the help icon, the top right corner of the screen. To reach out with questions, schedule a demonstration, or speak to one of our analysts. We hope you enjoy everything our research platform has to offer and look forward to helping you get to know it.